I believe everybody is shocked by the recent tragedy at River Valley High School. It is my hope that with this video, many of you guys out there watching will find some answers to the questions that you have in your mind. What is very important in a case involving murder is the age of the offender. It makes a big difference. The minimum age of criminal responsibility in Singapore is 10 years old. If you are between the age of 10 to 12 and you lack the maturity to understand the nature and consequences of your offending behavior, you will not be put through the rigors of our criminal justice system. But anything above 12 years old, you can be liable. From that age all the way until below 16 years old, if you are found to have committed an offense, you can be charged in our youth court. And from 16 onwards, you can be charged in our state courts. But of course, there remains a category of very, very serious and grave offenses such as kidnapping, rape, murder, drug trafficking. Such cases eventually will be dealt with in the High Court. There are 4 types of murders in Singapore, essentially Section 300A, B, C, and D of the Penal Code. Only Section 300A of the Penal Code, upon conviction, carries the mandatory death penalty. As for Section 300B, C, and D of the Penal Code, it can either be life imprisonment and may also be liable for caning or the death penalty. If at the time of murder, the offender is 18 years old and above, the person is looking at either the death penalty or life imprisonment. If at the time of murder, the offender was below the age of 18 years old, the offender cannot be sentenced to the death penalty, but instead be given a sentence of life imprisonment and might also be liable for caning. So when it comes to caning, if you are 16 years old and below, you can only be caned a maximum limit of 10 strokes and only with a light rattan. If you are above the age of 16 years old, you can be given up to a maximum stroke limit of 24 strokes, and with a rattan cane measuring 1.27 centimeters in diameter. Caning in Singapore cannot be done in installments. It must all be administered at one go. So cannot 2 strokes every month, must one shot. If you get 24 strokes, it will be 24 strokes at one go. Life imprisonment in Singapore means living out your natural life in prison. So that is the default position. In practice, you have to serve out at least 20 years before you are eligible for a parole interview, at, of course, the discretion of the authorities. When you face a murder charge, there are some possible defenses as well, or what we call exceptions. That means something that you can raise in your defense. A defense of sudden provocation, self-defense, sudden fight, or it could be a defense of diminished responsibility, or what we call an impairment of the mind. That means the accused person at the time of killing suffers from a mental disorder. If one or more of the exceptions succeeded in a murder trial, the offender might get off a murder charge completely, but might potentially get convicted on a reduced charge. And mostly based on what we have seen, it could be a charge of culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Or it could be something else altogether. If you have committed a crime when you are below the age of 18 years old, regardless of how severe the crimes are, under the law, your identity will be concealed. Nobody is allowed to publish any information which will lead to the identification of the offender. I hope this video can address some of the confusion out there right now. Just like you, I'm equally shocked and saddened by what happened. But I hope all of you guys who are watching out there right now, please refrain from making insensitive, insensible, and more importantly, illegal comments about whatever that has happened. At the very least, I hope this video will address some of these issues of law.